Hello. Good afternoon from Maine, as my grandma just said.
Hello, I'm Carol to the world and Grammy to four.
She said she's Carol to the world. Her name is Carol, but she's Grammy to four. She has four grandchildren, but she said foa instead of four. My grandma has a classic Maine accent. She's not really aware of it, but she does have one. And so I wanted to make a video showcasing her accent and getting her to talk about all kinds of things that might be interesting for you guys. And also you can challenge yourself to see if you can understand a classic Maine accent, a regional accent. So she definitely talks different than me, and you'll hear it, especially on some words. Sometimes the R is not pronounced like an R. Tell us how you would say park the car.
Park the car.
Say it again.
Park the car.
Yeah, so it's very much like a Boston accent, if you've ever heard that. What do you think? Do you think a Maine accent is still different than a Boston accent, or do you think it's basically the same?
Well, I've had many people from Boston say you've got to be from Boston, but I'm not. I'm from Maine. So I guess there must be a similarity there. But I don't feel like I have any accent at all. I'm kind of an outskirt of the city girl, certainly not a country gal. So
You grew up in Portland, Maine, right?
I grew up in Portland, Maine. I did.
Small city.
Small city.
We say it's a small city compared to like Boston or New York, but Portland is like probably the main big city of Maine. Maine is starting to get a lot more popular. I think a lot of people have moved here, but it hasn't been as crazily developed as some parts of the country. So most of the state is forest, right?
Yes, we have a lot of woods. A lot of woods. Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of undeveloped land. But Maine is really flourishing. A lot of growth here. Maine is the way life should be.
Yeah, that's the motto of Maine, right? Vacation land.
It's our slogan. Yeah, absolutely. And if you've lived here and you've been elsewhere, you know it is definitely the way life should be. We do have the four seasons, but it makes it great because when we get over one, we look forward to the next. And each one has its own unique thing about it. We have beautiful summers. As a matter of fact, everyone wants to come on vacation here because our summers are so good. We have great falls, very colorful falls, and people do leaf peeping here because of our beautiful trees and our colors. So fall is beautiful. Spring is kind of a little bit of
a mixed bag.
It is a mixed bag. When we're in spring, we don't know if we're going back to winter or we're going into summer. We're back and forth, back and forth.
Sometimes it snows in April.
Absolutely. But winter here used to be really harsh. When I was growing up, I mean, we had snowbanks you couldn't begin to see over. Today, in 2026, with the global warming, our winters are more of a nuisance than anything else. We will get snow, but the thing is, being a Mainer, we know how to deal with it. We have the equipment for it. Our blood is equipped for it because our blood thickens, and we can handle it. It's the other states that have the problems with it. But like I said, it's more of a nuisance, and it's a lot easier than it was growing up.
Yeah, certainly when I grew up here, I was more acclimated to it. But now that I don't live here, I think the winter here would be a shock for me. If I were to come back in winter, it would be really cold for me.
I absolutely would, because your blood's thinned down to nothing. Being in those warm climates, you don't need the thickness to keep you warm because you have the warmth of the atmosphere and the sun. But in Maine, your blood does thicken up. And you tough it. And we are hardworking people, and we can tough and go through anything in life.
I like it. Yes. Very strong people from Maine. Well, that was great, Grammy. You're a natural already on camera. So I wanted to talk to you today about my mom. Now, she's talked to me a lot about my mom in the past. So many stories of my mom's childhood and stories from her adulthood. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you might know that my mom died when I was 14. My mom was 41 at the time. She had cancer. I like to listen to these stories. I mean, even if she was alive, I think I would like the stories. But I like to ask my grandma about my mom when she was a kid and stuff and hear about it. So I told her for this video that it would be a good topic to talk about because she has a good memory and she can recall a lot of things. Yeah, it's interesting to see your perception because you were her mother. I was her daughter, but you were her mother. So yeah, I'm gonna hand you this little mic and you can hold it like this. Maybe you can start just talking about how she was as a little kid and maybe how she interacted with her sister Angela, who was younger than her. Anything that pops into your head, you can talk about. So
That's true. Your mother did die at a young age, and also you were a young age, and your brother was a young age. So I always tried to manage in her years after passing. I tried to keep her alive with you. So I tried to tell you as many things as I possibly could about what your mother was like as a child, so you'd have some of these memories that you weren't alive at the time. And when your mother was young, she was a extremely good baby. She really was, and she was a very easy to train, and she was just a delight to have as a young child. And then when her sister came along, she wanted to be her sister's mother. So we played house. And I would feed her sister, and she had her doll, and she'd feed, and we'd sit down, and we'd rock, and we'd feed our babies.
Aww.
So she wanted to be a part of that. But the only thing is, when her sister came home from the hospital, she wanted to clean out her toy box and fill the crib with every toy that she had because she wanted to share it with her sister. But I ended up talking her down to one small teddy bear, which we put at the foot of the bed. And that was acceptable. Aww. But she literally wanted to fill that bed.
That's cute. I didn't know that.
Yeah. As they grew up, they became really good buddies. They really did.
And what is the age difference between them?
The age difference is 22 months. Mm-hmm. They were 22 months apart. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't before long. Her sister was growing up, and they were toddling around together. And they used to play house. They'd play the Fisher-Price townhouses and all that. They'd play for hours on end, just playing with those. And then they had walkie-talkie phones in their bedrooms, and they would jibber-jabber on that phone back and forth because one was in one room, one was in another, and so they'd talk back and forth.
My mom's name is Rachel, and her sister is Angela.
Right. And when Rachel got older, she wanted to teach Angela. She really wanted her to know everything that she knew, and she insisted on her knowing. She really did. So when Rachel was 6 years old, I ended up buying her a chalkboard. She wanted a chalkboard, so I got her a chalkboard. And actually, it wasn't when she was 6. It was a little later on. It's when she started school. That's what it was. I'm sorry, I missed a few years there. But they did. They play at length together. But when she started school, and she got the feeling of school with the teachers and the chalkboards and the pointers. She wanted a chalkboard for Christmas and a pointer and the eraser, just like her teacher. Mom, I want it just like my teacher. And I had it, and it was on an easel. And she would write on that chalkboard. She'd do the alphabet, and she'd teach Angela the alphabet. But the thing is, what happened is, as Rachel learned, she kept pushing it on to Angela, and she would give Angela things to do that she couldn't do, and Angela would get so upset with her because she says, Mom, she says, Rachel's older than me, and I can't do that. She wants me to, and I don't know those things yet. And so, this went on. It seemed for years she played school with her. And Angela did very well in school. And Rachel used to always say, it's because of me, because I taught her everything. Like I said, this went on for a long, long time. And as they got older, there was some sibling rivalry. And it was funny. Rachel had put on a little bit of weight and stuff, and we had a full-length mirror in the hall. And I never forget, they'd get ready for school in the morning, and Rachel would get in that mirror, and if depending on how Angela actually was feeling the day, Rachel would say, Angela, what do you think, F or C? And what it meant was F was for fat and C was for chubby. And so if Angela was upset with her, she said, FNC. And Rachel would get all upset and she'd come crying to me. Mom, right, Angela thinks that I'm fat and Angela thinks I'm chubby. And I said, well, stop asking her the question. And this went on and on and on. I mean, this was a daily thing before they'd go to school. And then
F or C, F or C.
F or C, yes. And then as time went on, they were in high school, and Angela was very, very meticulous about her clothes. And everything was just right. And Rachel liked to have nice things on, but she really didn't take care of them. And she always wanted something because that's what someone else. And I says, yeah, but if I buy this for you, you're going to wear it. And so many times clothes would hang in her closet with tags still hanging on them, and she never would wear it. But she promised me she was going to, but she never did. So Angela would go to school before Rachel, and then what would happen is Rachel would slip into Angela's room and go through to see what she might find in there that's nice and fresh and presentable to wear. And so she would help herself to Angela's clothes. And it becomes such a problem that I literally had to get a big lock and put the big strap with the lock on Angela's closet door and give Angela the keys to keep Rachel from getting into her closet. And Rachel's first words to me were, Mom, I'm really glad you did that. Now I can be honest.
My mom didn't have self-restraint.
No.
She needed to be locked out.
Exactly.
To not go in something.
Exactly.
Going back to talking about her wanting to play teacher when she was a kid, this is especially cute when you know that my mom was a teacher as an adult. So her career was a teacher. She was a kindergarten teacher mostly. Sometimes she taught first grade. But yeah, it's ironic that she loved to play that so much when she was a kid, and then she became that as an adult. And I was like this a little bit as a kid too. I used to play school. I used to teach Darren, my stepdad. I used to make him my student. And I had a whiteboard in my room, and I showed a lot of those traits as well. My brother was a lot younger than me, so I didn't really try to teach him the way that my mom taught Angela, but I also think I outgrew it at that point by the time Logan was ready to learn stuff. But yeah, it's funny. I also became a teacher in a way. I teach English online. So in a way, I kind of inherited that like teaching thing from my mom. And then the clothes story, I've heard that a bunch. That's funny. My mom would see her sister Angela in the hallway with, the other way around. Angela would see my mom, Rachel, in the hallway with her clothes on, and she'd get mad because she was wearing her clothes.
Yeah, one day she went to school and Rachel had taken a pair of socks. And Rachel had taken a pair of Angela's socks. She couldn't get in the closet to get clothes, so she got in the drawer and got her socks. So they were in high school at this time, and they're walking the halls, and Angela spotted her socks on Rachel. Well, she went right up to her and she made her take them off. And she put them in her pocket and brought them home. And Rachel was at the school all day long, the rest of the day, with socks. It's true, Rachel truly did jump on her calling. She was meant to be a teacher right from the day one. And she became a great teacher. It's too bad she didn't get to teach longer than she did because she was so really liked as a teacher. As a matter of fact, there were many parents that actually requested Rachel. She was that good. And I myself went to school a couple of times and watched her teach, and I was so amazed at what a wonderful teacher she was. And I'm thinking back when I was a kid, it would have been great to have had a teacher like her because she really left an impression on many, many people. As a matter of fact, after her passing, the class that was graduating from grammar school that year had Rachel in kindergarten, and they had a special ceremony for the graduating class, and that class had put together a mobile library, in honor for Rachel, and on the top it was a picture of the class with Rachel. There were all different kinds of books that were brought to different classrooms. It became a mobile library, and that was done in Rachel's memory. It was a really nice ceremony they put on, and we went to that. And
I had forgotten about that. They adored her. I remember, parents loved my mom, and they would give her gifts all the time. My mom would get these gift cards, like $200 off a massage. Like, she'd get all kinds of stuff, gifts from the parents, because, you know, these parents were sending their kids to kindergarten. So it was their kids' first year of school. And my mom just made a good impression on them as their first teacher. And so I think, I don't know, they loved her. I went to her classroom a lot too, because sometimes I went to a different school and sometimes I would have the day off from school. And so I would just go with her. And yeah, I noticed that she was pretty electric in the classroom. Sometimes I think she was yelling a little bit too much, but that was my mom. My mom was a yeller. She yelled a lot at home too. She liked to project her voice, but I noticed that the kids loved her. Also, we've been talking a lot about, you know, fun, positive things. I want to talk a little bit about my mom's experience with cancer as a kid, because she had ovarian cancer when she was 12. And, you know, that's something that most kids don't have to deal with. And that was a lot. So, yeah, maybe you could talk about that.
Okay. Yes, that was very hard when we first of all, Rachel had been complaining of, she had these stomach pains, and I was working at the time at a place where they frowned on if you called out. So I had to go to work, and this particular day she was in pain, and I said, I'm going to go to work, but when I get to work, you call and say that you're not feeling well, then I could leave work. So that's exactly what I did. She called, and I said, Rachel, I'll be right home. And so I was determined to, I needed to find out what was going on, because she was in such stomach pains. And at the time, what I did was I went home, and let me go back a little bit. When she first complained, I brought her to the emergency room at the hospital, and they said that she had a full bowel and a full bladder, and so they said that she was constipated, and that really gave her fleets. And of course, cleaned her out, and the pain went away. And you'll understand what I'm saying in my future talking about this. So we got home, and she did eat a lot of cheese. And I kept saying, Rachel, you're eating too much cheese. It's binding you all up. You know, you really need to cut out the cheese. And because, I'm taken her to the hospital, and I'm thinking they know what's going on. Well, the reason that the pain went away is because she had a tumor the size of a basketball in her. And
basketball or a baseball? No,
it was a basketball. She had a tumor inside of her the size, and you'd think that she would have looked pregnant, but she did not. What happened, it had gone on the inside, and it blocked her bowel and her bladder, and that's the reason why she couldn't do anything, because it was so big it had blocked it. But we found this out afterward when I took her to a doctor, and he examined her, and he physically could feel something was there. Why they didn't at the hospital is beyond me, but they physically could feel something. So they sent her right into the hospital for an ultrasound. Well, she had the ultrasound, and that day, they were admitting her. That night they were admitting her to the hospital because they said that she had something there, and they needed to find out what it was. Well, the next morning she actually went in for surgery. That's when they found a tumor the size of a basketball, and it was right at a ruptured point, and it's what they call a yolk sac tumor she had. So they removed the tumor, and the doctor cleaned up all the areas best he could. But because of it leaking some, because, like I said, it was at a ruptured point, she had to go on chemotherapy. So Rachel went through a year of chemotherapy. Every 3 weeks, her and I would go into the hospital. We'd go in the hospital, and she'd have chemotherapy. And I remember it was There were times when, she was so sick. But in the hospital, the minute they give her the drug, she would immediately grab for her heart because it affected her heart first. Because then she was sick and she was nauseous and the vomiting and everything. And I would stay with her the whole night. But we had a deal going, Rachel and I. And we had made this deal with her oncologist. As soon as she's feeling well, I could get her out of there. Because even the smell of the hospital at that time was making her sick. So we did this for every 3 weeks for a year. Again, I'd go in the hospital and we'd go through the same thing. And then we'd come home and, of course, her taste buds had changed. She had a lot of side effects from the drugs. And at one time they had to actually stop the drug. It was called vincristine. They had to stop that drug because it actually had paralyzed her vocal cord. She had woken up that morning and these little squeak sounds were coming out of her. She couldn't talk. So I called her oncologist and they immediately saw her and sent her to a specialist who said she had a paralyzed vocal cord from the vincristine. So they had to stop the vincristine for a while until her lungs became unparalyzed, so they were working again. And then they slowly they'd had to cut back on the dose when she had to have the drug, but they had to cut back on the dose because of that. But she was the first reported case in medical history to have a paralyzed vocal cord from the vincristine. There are known side effects. Her doctor, oncologist, said, you made medical history, Rachel, because that was the first reported case. And so we did this for, like I said, for a year, and she went into remission, and she remained in remission for 5 years, so she was considered to be cured of it. But never did we know that years later that she would come down with breast cancer.
Like late 30s, right?
She was, when she went breast cancer, it was...
Because she died when she was 41. So
right.
I would say like late 30s she was diagnosed. Right. I don't know the exact year.
I don't remember the exact year either. I mean, I have that information, but... Yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
But the thing is... Medical really, I think, really missed her because it's been noted now that hormonal cancers are related. Since she had ovarian cancer as a kid, her oncologist had said there's a good chance because of the drugs that she could come down with another cancer later on in life. But normally it's a blood cancer like leukemia. Never did we know that it would be breast cancer, but breast cancer is related to ovarian cancer and vice versa. Often people who have ovarian cancer die of breast, or people who have breast cancer will die of ovarian cancer. They'll bounce back and forth.
Yeah, so she had the two female cancers, women cancers.
She had the two female cancers, but the thing that she didn't have was the BRCA gene, so that didn't affect that didn't affect her daughter. She didn't have the BRCA gene.
I don't know about that.
The BRCA gene means that you'd have to watch yourself, but because she didn't have that, it wasn't an issue, you know.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know about this.
Right. Yeah, because another thing too, that's why people who have that BRCA gene often get a mastectomy, and it wasn't going to do anything because that it wasn't that way. But what I'm thinking is if there's a possibility where she had the yolk sac tumor. The yolk sac tumor was in her ovary. Possibly it was worded wrong that she didn't even have ovarian cancer. But it happened to be in her ovary. But it's this yolk sac tumor that she had. And her protocol came out of St. Jude's Hospital. And the thing is, with the yolk sac tumor, there had only been 6 reported cases in 54 years, so there was no longevity on it. So there was no history to it at that time when she was treated.
She's great, right? She just can remember everything and so many details. Yeah, it's a lot. So she had cancer when she was 12. So if you think, if you saw my video with Samara, Samara's 12 years old. So think like being that age and having cancer, spending a whole year on chemotherapy. She lost her hair. She wore a wig to school. She hated the wig. She told me she used to throw it off her head when she'd get home.
Yes, she used to. Oh, yes. She was. I mean, that was it was almost comical. She'd come in from school, and there was some hat hooks in the hallway right by her bedroom. She'd take that thing off and just hang it on the hat hook. If the doorbell rang, she'd run and get that hair piece put on. And I know it was hard being 13 years old and being in junior high though. And she had a teaser, a boy that sat behind her. He was quite the teaser, and she was so afraid that someday he was just going to pull on her hair and it was just going to pull it off. Because I know she was very, very self-conscious of that. Matter of fact, there was only one friend of hers that actually knew that she had a wig on. She didn't share that with anyone. So that was her biggest concern. And when it came to gym, I remember I had to go to her teacher, gym teacher, and say, let her do what she can do. Because, spare her from embarrassment. If her wig should fall off, it's going to be devastating to her at that age, being 13. So they kind of let her do what she was comfortable in doing because she had to keep that piece of hair on top of her head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that was the main thing.
Did it look natural? Do you think anybody suspected?
Well, it looked very natural. What I did when I remember when her hair first started coming falling, and it wasn't just a few pieces of hair here and there. It was coming out in clumps. And right after her very first treatment, that's how strong her treatment was. The very first treatment, it was coming out in clumps. Wow. And my mother says, she spent the night at my mother's house, her grandmother's house, and my mother says, "Oh, Carol, it's not going to fall. It's not going to fall." I said, "Ma, don't give her false hope. I want her to know the truth. I don't want her to be. I don't want her to think something's not going to happen when I know what's gonna." It was very clear that she was going to lose her hair, so don't do that to her. So my mother's brushing her hair. She spent the night and she was brushing her hair. My mother got so scared she stopped brushing it because it kept falling out. My mother was in denial, and she just wouldn't hear what I had to say. But I always told Rachel the truth, regardless of the good, bad, or indifferent. She needed to know the truth. But what I did was I found a really nice wig for her, and I had a hairdresser that I called him, and after hours he made an appointment for Rachel and I to come in with a wig, and I had him cut that wig to fit her face because it was a little too puffy. It had a little too much hair in it, so he thinned it out and made it to come to her size of her face, and it looked very, very natural. Matter of fact, the salon was supposed to be closed, and some woman happened to see the light on because we were in there, and she came in the door, and the hairdresser said, that we're closed, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then she said to Rachel, "You got beautiful hair." So she had no idea that Rachel had, and that really lifted Rachel's spirits. So she really felt that, this can work,
Mm-hmm.
So
that's nice.
So that part worked, but it became a hat on the hook when she didn't need it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think she said it was a bit itchy, and when it was hot outside, it was hot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's good. Yeah, and I was that age, 12, 13, when she had cancer as an adult, and she also had chemo and lost her hair. And she had a wig when she was an adult, but sometimes she would just wear a bandana or whatever.
She was beautiful without it.
Yeah. My mom was beautiful without hair.
She really was.
My mom had a small face. Like, my face is very elongated. I have a long forehead. I don't know how good I'd be without hair, but my mom had a nice,
perfectly round head.
Yeah, perfectly round, small face. She had smaller nose. She was cute. She didn't need. She was great without hair.
She truly was. She was absolutely beautiful. She didn't need hair to see her beauty, because she did. She had the perfect shaped head, and her features, and everyone that would sit back and just look at her would say, she's beautiful. She was she looked like an angel. She really did. She wasn't, but she certainly looked it. No, she gave me many gray hairs, believe me.
Yeah.
But she was my challenge. But loved her regardless.
I've heard a lot of the stories. You guys had a difficult relationship, as I had with my mom, with her. Yeah, to a certain extent, it's normal, mother and daughter stuff. But obviously, every child has a different personality, and Angela and my mom were very different. Of the two, my mom was more difficult to deal with, probably.
Well, Rachel was, but it's amazing though the many letters that I've gotten along life's journey. It's telling me that she loved me, and she doesn't know what she would have done without me. And she says, Mom, I know many times, I really gave you a hard time and stuff, but you were the only one that was safe to do that with. Don't take it personally. But she says, I was safe saying and doing the things that I did with you. And I certainly appreciate that. And I have these letters today.
Yeah, I think most people feel safe to give their mom a hard time, like you're on your better behavior for other people, but with your mom, you can just
let it all out.
Yeah, let it all out. And it's hard. She has to deal with it. It's hard, but yeah, I certainly was that way with my mom. Yeah, sometimes we can be cruel as kids. We get so mad. But at the end of the day, we know that there's no one who cares about us like our moms. And there's no one who will be there for us no matter what, like our moms. I mean, it's really the most important person in your life, even though sometimes it can be the hardest relationship. Was there any other things you wanted to talk about her childhood or your relationship with her or anything? There's
one thing back when she was going through chemo, she had an option to have a port put in, because there's a lot of needle involvement where you have to have you have to get a good vein because of what's going in you, because if any of these chemo drugs leak out, it can be very dangerous. So she had an option of having a port put in, but she refused to port. And the reason she did was because one of the things that she really enjoyed was swimming. And at that time, ports, you could not go in the water if you went. You could not go swimming with a port. And so she refused to take the punishment of all the needles. And it got so bad that her veins weren't cooperating at all, and her oncologist was the only one that actually could get her vein. And I would take her to the beach as often as possible, because that was one place that she really felt good. And so I would take her to the beach, and her sister and I and her father, we'd make a little huddle cave and we'd take her wig off, and she'd put a bathing cap on, and then she'd put a bandana on it, 'cause she didn't want people to know that she had a bathing cap on. So she'd tie a bandana over the bathing cap, and she'd go in the water and have a great time and enjoy every bit of it. And then she'd come out of the water. We'd make another little shelter, so that she could take that off and put her wig on. But
that's cute.
We did everything we could to make her feel to the world as normal as possible. There's a lot of things on life's journey that, but just to sit here and put it all into one,
that's hard.
See, after I get off this, I'm sure without a doubt I'm going to think of many things. Yeah. But right now
There's so much we could talk about. Obviously, there's a lot of negative stuff. Is the issues with her father and stuff.
Right.
And then as an adult, she had issues with my father, who I've talked about in my channel, who turned out to not be my father. But anyways, my mom had a lot going on in her adulthood. She remarried to my stepdad, and they had my brother. And, and she lived for 41 years. There's obviously so much that occurred during 41 years. There's so much that we could talk about, good and bad. I have great memories of her, especially from when I was younger, a young child. And then as I got older, I started to have more issues with her, like, heading into teenage years and stuff. But I think that if she were alive today, we would have a good relationship, I think. And of course, I wish she were here.
I'm sorry, but this is like almost bouncing all over the place. But
It's all right.
now I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, no.
But one thing I will say that Rachel is very, very missed by family. She really is. There isn't a cousin or a friend out there that doesn't miss Rachel and her humor. She could light up any room. She was absolutely hilarious. I mean, even in her younger years, we'd get together with the cousins where there was some freedom there, and she would actually dance around when she was feeling up, she'd dance around the floor and kind of just take her wig off and throw it up in the air. But in later years, her cousins say that, any of the family get-togethers stuff we do. It's just not the same without Rachel. Everyone just loved Rachel and her humor.
She was the life of the party.
She truly was the life of the party. Yeah. So she is really loved and very missed.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. Yeah. Even watching her hang out with her friends, she worked at schools, and she'd often make friends with coworkers at schools. And I might not have, Grammy or me, we might not have liked her friends always, all of her friends. Right. But I can say that from seeing them hang out a lot, they loved her. I mean, they were obsessed with my mom. Like, they loved her and thought she was fun.
She kept everything hopping.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think I get some humor and things from her. I like to dance.
I got another funny.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, this is kind of hilarious. This is kind of hilarious. Rachel is the only person that I know could never get a message. How you have a certain amount of space when you call someone on the answer machine, and you only have a certain amount of space to leave your message. Well, Rachel could never ever get a whole message in on one call. She literally would call me up and tell me something, and then it reached to the end of the recording. And then she'd hang up and she'd call me back and continue that conversation. Not twice, 3 times it took her to get the full conversation in that she needed to tell me. I mean, there's no one that I know on this earth that does that. Yeah. But she did.
You would get home to 30-minute messages.
I would get home and my husband would say, "It's Rachel." And guess what? And the phone happened, and then it'd be Rachel, and then it would be Rachel.
3 long messages.
And then, because all she did was leave a message, she'd end up calling me too, and actually talking to me. I said, "Rachel, I got the whole story. What do you want me to do?"
Just
but she loved telephones. She truly loved telephones. She loved telephones as a child. She had the Fisher-Price telephone, and she'd talk on that for hours. And then she had the walkie-talkie phones, and she'd talk on that for hours. And as an adult, she loved the telephone on the wall.
Yeah. As much as she might have gotten frustrated with her mom, she was always calling her up. She was constantly wanting to talk to her. And yeah, because who else? Who else was she going to call up and vent to?
Right. Most of the time she called me, it was because she was frustrated with Leo.
Oh.
And then I'd say...
With her daughter.
Yeah, with her daughter. Yep. And I would and I would chuckle a little bit, and I would say, "Rachel, what comes around goes round. Welcome to my world, dear."
I told my grandma that I don't use my birth name on my channel. Like, the name that my family calls me, I don't use that on my channel. I use a like a nickname. So that's why she's calling me Leo. I told her it's Lao, but it's hard to say.
I can't get that. That's just, it's not her name to me, so it's hard for me to say it.
Yeah. It's my name that I created for myself as a online persona. And also, there are some friends in real life who call me that. It is like a nickname for me. But yeah, all my family call me my real name. I'm not sure if I'll share that on my channel someday. I might share it, but I like a little bit of anonymity.
Just say L.
Yeah, L. You can call me L. That's okay.
Yeah.
So what she was saying is that my mom would call her up to complain about me, to talk about her problems as a mom with me, her daughter. And my grandma would say, that's how you were with me. Like, you're getting the same thing. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree,
Exactly.
There was one thing I wanted to mention when we were talking about the cancer and the ovarian cancer. My mom had one of her ovaries removed.
Right.
And so she was under the impression that she might not be able to get pregnant easily. But then with me, she found out that she was.
Yes, that is so. She did have her one of her ovaries removed and her ovarian tube removed, and so consequently, the doctor had said at the time, there's a good chance you may have trouble getting pregnant, or you may not get pregnant, but you can get pregnant with one ovary. And so anyway, she was telling me, she came to me and she says, Mom, I think my cancer is back. And I says, what makes you say that? She says, well, she had gone to the doctors and, her alpha fetoprotein was up, but excuse me, and your alpha fetoprotein is up when you're pregnant. Mm-hmm. But she said that, and our alpha fetoprotein was up when she had ovarian cancer. And so she says, Mom, I think it's my cancer's back. And I said, Rachel, what are your symptoms? And she told me some. I said, Rachel, I hate to tell you, kid, but you sound like you're giving me the symptoms of being pregnant. She said, I can't be pregnant, Ma. I can't be pregnant. And I said, Rachel, you better go to the doctors and get it really checked, because you are giving me the symptoms of being pregnant. And sure enough, she went to the doctors, and I said, hit the nail on the head. She says, Mom, I'm pregnant. And I says, Rachel, I told you. I told you. I said, I told you. I didn't believe it was your cancer, that you were pregnant. And at the time, she wasn't married. And I said to her, I says, Rachel, it's not what I wanted for you. It's not the ideal, but it can be worked out. And that was when I found out that she was pregnant. And she knew I was there for her. And like I said, it's not what I wanted for you. It's not the ideal, but it's workable. We can work with this,
Mm-hmm. And then I was born.
Then it was accepted. Mm-hmm. And she was born. And I'll tell you, I was right there. I had a front row seat when she was born. And life is truly a miracle. It really is. And then they break that membrane, and this beautiful face came to life. I mean, instant miracle. I mean, you can't help but think it any other way. I mean, she was absolutely a beautiful baby, and we so enjoyed her as a child. I mean, as an infant, as a child. And we're enjoying her today, and here I am talking to her.
I was the first, cousin born in the family, the first, of that generation.
You were my first granddaughter.
Yeah. First granddaughter, I was the first baby born in a while, a long time. I mean, who would have been the last one, like Kristen, right, or one of them? So I was the first baby born in a while in the family, and yeah, I look at pictures and I hear stories, and I think I was pretty adored as a baby. I think everybody loved me.
You were such a cute baby and a funny baby. Oh, we used to love it. She loved Piglet, and we get the biggest kick out of her because we say, now who is this? And she go, Pliget. She says, yeah. Piglet. She go, Pliget.
Kids always say things wrong. It's kind of, yeah, she's talking about Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, there's a character called Piglet. But I had a stuffed animal, Piglet, but I couldn't say that, so I called it Pliget. So it was my little Pliget stuffed animal. Yeah. So many stories of when I was a kid, but that's a whole nother video. We should make this a regular thing when I come visit. we should do more of these videos because I'm learning more things and I'll have this video forever. So it's great. It's funny. I know there's one thing that you and your sisters used to say this too, and your mom. You guys will be telling a story and you'll say like, and I says, and she says, and I says. And, grammatically speaking, the correct version is I say or I said. But you guys, you and your mom and Donna, Gloria, you guys always say I says. And it's funny. I notice it's something, I don't know if that's like a Maine thing or that's like...
That didn't sound familiar with me.
My family. Yeah. You don't even notice it, but you say it. Yeah. And she said to me, and I says. My great-grandmother, her mother, talked that way too.
You're the one that actually nicknamed Grammy Great, and she absolutely loved it. It's the first to start that, Grammy Great, and every great-grandchild after that referred to my mother as Grammy Great, and she absolutely loved it. And people would actually comment on that. They liked it too.
So we're talking about my great-grandmother. I guess people would normally just say, great Grammy or something like that. But I called her Grammy Great, and it's stuck in the family, and everybody called her that. So, it's funny.
Your mother's the one that really got you to do that, and that was good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good on your mother's part.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and that label stayed with her, and she's always referred to Grammy Great.
Yeah, and she was alive for a lot of my life until I was... Was she still alive when my mom died, or no?
Yes, she was.
She outlived my mom.
Yes, she was alive because your mother died.
2011.
Yeah, your mother died 2011. Died in December of 2011. Then the following year, 2012, within a year, we lost your Uncle Ray. He died 2012. In September, and Grammy Great died 2012 in October. Wow. So within a year, we lost Grammy Great, your Uncle Ray, and your mother.
That's a lot.
Within a year, three of them went. Yeah.
Yeah, and Uncle Ray and my mom were very, very loved members of the family. Grammy Great, I don't know how much we all had a hate-love relationship with her, but she was the mother of 7 kids, you and 6 other siblings. Yeah. But a lot of people died in the family, and then also Donna died she also had breast cancer. And
she was later on. Yeah,
and your father died of cancer as well. So we got cut off. My camera overheats, as you guys know on this channel. It often just cuts off randomly. I don't know why it does that. If anyone can tell me maybe what I need to do. I have, I think, a good camera. Anyways, it's a Sony camera. But so we were just talking about people who have died in the family from cancer. We have one of her sisters, her father, and my mother died of some kind of cancer. So I guess it's a common thing in the family, I guess you could say. But you are invincible. She is still kicking. She's beat cancer. She recently had chemotherapy. She is in remission now. She's doing well.
I'm in remission from 2 cancers. I'm in remission from lung cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Amazing. Yeah, and you didn't even lose your hair in chemotherapy, right?
I did not. No, the chemotherapy that I had doesn't, you don't get hair loss, which I was lucky to have. And I didn't have any chemotherapy. I had surgery with my lung cancer, and they took out part of my lung, and they took out the cancer. But my lungs are full of cancer, but they lay dormant. So I'm considered to be in remission. And they do watch me every year. I have CT scans every year. And my non-Hodgkin's, there is no cure for it. So like my oncologist said, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma will not kill me. I will die with it.
Okay. But you did do chemo because you got sick.
I did have to have chemo because with a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, what happens is it's cancer in the bone marrow, and it was causing I couldn't make any blood. I had to have chemo to turn that around. So I had 6 months of chemo to turn that around. Now my bone marrow is making blood. So I'm watched very closely because if my blood goes down, then I would, if something comes up, I would have to go back on chemo. But there is no cure.
Okay. Yeah, she has dealt with various health issues from her 50s, but today she's 78 and she's doing well. I mean, she's beat it all thanks to modern medicine.
I'm a walking medical book. My doctor says I'm the most resilient patient he's ever had. No matter what life throws me, I bounce back for some reason.
We're glad you're still here, and we hope for many more years. So yeah, we're going to wrap up the video here. Of course, there are, a million and one more things we could talk about. But yeah, it's been fun.
And if there's more interest, let us know.
Yes. Please tell us in the comments if you enjoyed it and if you want more. Because if you guys really like it, it will motivate me to come back and to film more. As you guys might know, I'm a nomad. I'm always, traveling and gone. I come back to visit my family maybe once a year or once every couple of years sometimes. But I wanted to come back and visit and also take advantage of, filming videos with them because I like to do that. I like to share personal things on the channel, and I also think it's good for you guys to be exposed to, the real English that I grew up with, listening to. This is how I learned English. I mean, listening to my parents and my grandparents, and, this is it. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Any last words, Grandma Carol?
Wish you all the best.
Did you enjoy this experience of filming a video?
Well, it certainly was different. I never had done this before, especially to be put out to the world. My goodness.
Will you watch your own video? I know you watch some videos on my channel.
Absolutely. Of course I'm going to watch it.
I'm just asking, because some people don't like to watch themselves on camera, but you don't mind.
Curious, if nothing else.
Yeah, I agree. I like to watch myself. I think it's interesting. But I've always been like that. I like to look at myself in the mirror. I like to study myself. Yeah.
Well, that's scary. I don't care to look at myself in the mirror, but I certainly am curious enough to see what I did say and how it went across.
I think it came across very well. All right, so thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.